Have you ever tried giving someone feedback and just watched their face change instantly? They shut down, get defensive, start over-explaining, or worse, they leave the conversation entirely unchanged because they are so focused on how it felt instead of what you actually said. If you are a manager, you know this dance well. It's giving feedback to someone who takes it personally. But here is the blunt truth. The longer you avoid giving feedback to someone who takes it personally, the more damage it does, not just to them, but to your entire team. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to have that difficult conversation without sugarcoating, without drama, and without burning through the trust. We are going to cover what is really going on behind that defensiveness, how to prepare someone to hear the feedback before you even give it, and a proven 4-step method to give feedback that lands. Finally, how to make it stick even after the conversation's done. By the way, my name's Heather Elkington. I am a leadership coach and founder of Fresh Leadership World. I have helped over 5,000 managers lead with confidence, clarity, and a bit more humanity. So let's get into it. The first step we have to go through here is understand what is really going on. Because if you treat every team member the same, you're gonna miss what makes feedback feel personal for some and empowering for others. People who take feedback personally often have deep beliefs around failure, perfectionism, or past experience with really bad managers. Before we get into this conversation, I want you to ask yourself, what story might this person be telling themselves about what feedback means to them? Is it a sign of failure, perfection, not being good enough? You could even ask them this question, because once you understand that, you can really start to tailor your approach to the conversation that needs to come. Your tone, your timing, your language, it all needs to reflect that conversation that's been had. It's not about sugarcoating your message, it's just about removing the unnecessary threat. And in this context, we're not just delivering feedback, we're creating an environment where it lands well for this person. An example could be if someone is a real perfectionist and we know that and understand them, we could start the conversation by explaining we're not aiming for perfection, and that by you giving them this feedback doesn't necessarily mean that they are failing, but just that we need to make some adjustments. And all this feedback is part of their growth. You've built trust by showing you've thought about how this might land, not just by saying exactly what you want to say. Step 2, let's make sure we prime them before the moment. No one responds well to surprise criticism. Feedback shouldn't just show up when something goes wrong. So let's try and normalize feedback in our entire team before it's personalized. Make it part of the culture. We can do this by talking about feedback all the time in our monthly review meetings, giving our team education on why feedback is so important for growth, making sure that we're sharing micro feedback regularly, maybe even in a public forum. Invite feedback to yourself from your team and frame it as growth, not correction. By just having this culture within your team of feedback, it makes it less personal, it makes it less difficult when that person receives it, because they know that this is all part and parcel of what needs to happen in this team. So try this. In your next one-on-one, say, let's add this to the agenda. What's one thing I'm doing well and one thing I'm doing better? And then you go first. It helps to normalize that feedback. And another pro tip here is the more emotionally safe feedback feels over time, the less likely they are to spiral or get defensive when they hear something tough. So make sure they know, even though they are making these mistakes, they are safe to do so. It is all part of growth. Step 3 is about how you actually now deliver this conversation. And if you want to get the download for this, my full framework is in the description notes. We're going to go through the 4 P's framework for having this conversation, because when a conversation has the potential to trigger shame or defensiveness, structure is your best friend. The 4 P's helps you stay calm, clear, and constructive while we keep that trust intact in the conversation. This is my go-to framework for difficult conversations and is now used by thousands of leaders across the world. It gives your feedback direction, it protects psychological safety, and most importantly, it actually leads to action off the back of it. So the first P is purpose. Why are you having this conversation? Start the conversation with, I want to talk about something I've noticed because it's impacting the team's progress. This sets your intention early. It tells them you're not just here to criticize, you are here to solve something important together. Next, we go into problem. What specific issue needs addressing? Let's say something like, the monthly report has been late 3 times in the past 2 months. We're keeping it neutral, we're keeping it focused, you are describing the behavior, not necessarily attacking the person. The third P is proof. Where's the evidence? For example, last Friday, the client flagged it again, which delayed their project timeline. Facts keep the conversation grounded. You're not guessing or assuming, you are just reflecting reality. And the very final P is path. What is going to happen next? So we'd say something like, moving forward, I need us to stick to these reporting deadlines, so clients aren't affected. If there's ever a blocker, you need to flag it early so we can adjust together. I would then also follow up on email with this path action. We are drawing a clear line between behavior and impact. We are also offering support and a way forward. It's super clear, both parties know what needs to happen next in order for us to move forward from this. And then finally, the fourth step is reinforce that belief. Feedback doesn't end just after that conversation has ended. How you follow up determines whether it lands or it lingers. People who take feedback personally really need help rebuilding their self-belief. Your role is to reinforce what is possible, not just continue to point out what's wrong. So make sure, follow up within a few days. I quite like to do this on email straight after the conversation and then in person a few days later. Make sure you acknowledge progress. So when you see them growing, when you see things changing, make sure that you acknowledge that as a positive. And if they need it, remind them that they are capable. They can do this, they can grow, and that's exactly why we're having this conversation. An example of how you could say this in real time would be, hey, I really appreciated how open you were the other day. I can already see a shift in how you're approaching things. And remember, feedback is never about fixing people. It is about belief, believing that they can do more, believing that they can do better, and being kind. Giving feedback to someone who takes it personally is never easy, and I would never say it is, but being silent is not being kind. And avoidance does not protect trust, it erodes it. Real leadership means showing someone, I care about your success enough to have this conversation, and I believe in you enough to expect more from you. So next time you hesitate, just remember, understand what's underneath that reaction, prime the environment before the moment, use the 4Ps method, and always follow up with the belief. Because when done right, feedback doesn't have to be confrontation. It is a vote of confidence in that other person. And every subscribe, comment, like means the absolute world to us. We are trying to build this YouTube channel. We just want to get as much of this information out to managers as we possibly can.